If I lost a job today, I would ask myself, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to run my life? How am I going to manage the people that are dependent on me? So the fear comes in. How am I going to manage the next?
You really need a physical mentor. Walk to them and then speak to them about it. Okay? But a mentor can only guide you for as much as you're willing. So there has to be willingness here. It's a two-way street.
You want them, they want you as well.
You want to change aspects about you. And then you approach them and they're willing to help you.
Okay.
We should always start with the people that know us. And we need to sell our skills to the people that are in our circles. You know, sometimes we know so much and we can do so much, but it's known by a few.
If you're a cashier at a bank and you DJ at night, for as long as the two don't interfere each other, there is nothing wrong with that. In fact, as an organization, when we have parties, why not contract the in-house DJ?
It's your job to keep your job. It is your job to upgrade your job. And then number 3 is your job to get a plan B just in case your job is no longer there. Is it possible for organizations to, like you mentioned in the induction process when you're joining the organization, some companies call that risk management, and they have this risk management reports. Is it possible to have, or have you ever seen an organization that has, say, profiled their uncertainties at the work, and then they'll tell you these are probably the uncertainties that you will come through, you'll come through under or across working with us, and this is how we would probably advise you to navigate them, like how people just do audit and they say, okay, you know what, Chris, thank you so much, you're happy and we can see you're really enjoying this job, you bought yourself a new car, but have you read our risk manual, our uncertainties manual, where we've profiled that, by the way, this job could easily go out of the window, so you need to attend the financial literacy sessions. By the way, if you want to be promoted, then you need to go into additional courses here and there. If you want to keep this job, this is what you do. Or maybe I may be biased, but like Stellah mentioned, we just go in and navigate and just find ourselves there.
So, Christian, world-class organizations have what they call career counselors.
Okay.
So, I mean, all multinationals, quite a number of organizations I've worked for. So you go into this organization and, you know, fresh out of varsity, you're not so certain of what you really want to do, you have a session with a career counselor. And that's the role of the career counselor, to help you look at where you want to be, the decisions you're making. Of course, at an organizational level, we do have what we call risk matrices. Okay.
Yes.
We look at all the possible risks that an organization should have, that an organization may encounter. What are the steps you're taking to mitigate these risks? And what is the strategy if they do happen? That's there. You'll find in most departments they do that. What we forget, and one of the things that's probably a culprit of maybe 15 years ago, is you do not take exactly that and inculcate it in your life. Because if you also start doing a risk matrix for your life, then you're able to look and say, okay, what happens if I lose a job now? Okay, I have a family, 2 children. Can I afford to take my kids to school? For how long can I keep that? Okay, my current skills, are they marketable? Will I be able to find a job in another organization? Am I flexible enough to say I can change careers? Okay, do I have starting capital to be able to start a business? What business is that? And all those are the questions that you could get in this career guidance sessions that do not stop only at school or varsity, but should carry on in the working life, because we're not the masters of all the knowledge. We do not know it all. Your manager today doesn't have the answers. But also, while we're at the organization, let us listen to some people, because some people are God sent into our lives. You get in there, and there'll be someone who sees you running your life in a certain way and call you Christian. You know, if you tweak this and that, you will be a better person.
What are those called? Are they mentors? These people in an organization that will notice, like, Christian, you bought a new watch, you bought a new car. I thought you would probably be using part of your money to save, or I thought you would be planning for your retirement. Now I can see you are at the VIP of function XYZ. Who are these people in organization? Is it the HR? Is it career counselors, like counselors like you mentioned? Are they mentors? Where do who is technically good at giving us this kind of guidance?
So the quickest place to run to in an organization is the HR unit or the HR department, one. But in there, that's where probably the career counseling people would be. But we have this new budding thing of employee wellness, okay? Some organizations do it in-house, they outsource it. And some of these people actually could be strangers within the organization that actually wake up and take note. But see what happens when you're young. You believe you have all the energy, okay? Whatever they tell you, it's like, Christian, you're old. I have all the energy, I can do whatever I want. We have big dreams, still those dreams fold up one day, okay? And that's the reality. So I think HR should be one of the places that would give that information. But also, I don't know if I spoke about it earlier, is at orientation, we as HR should also have like a buddy kind of relationship, attach a new employee with an existing employee.
They used to have a name in school, I can't remember. Like when you go to senior 1, they'll pick someone at senior 6 and say, you're like, I can't remember the name, but I get what you mean.
So that buddy would be like someone that would guide you along the way. For a mentor, it's someone you look up to, okay? And you don't need a mentor physically, okay? You could also just look at someone's life, get a book they've written, or if you really need a physical mentor, walk to them and then speak to them about it, okay? But a mentor can only guide you for as much as you're willing. So there has to be willingness here. It's a two-way street.
You want them, they want you as well.
You want to change aspects about you.
Yeah.
And then you approach them and they're willing to help you.
Okay.
Yeah, but if it's one-sided, if I'm choking it down your throat, then I look like I'm your parent.
Yeah, sure.
And at the workplace, the last thing someone wants to see is a parent. Because then you feel I'm now free. Okay? I'm free, I can do what I want, there's no consequences. But unfortunately, there's consequences in life. Okay? If you go in there, like Stellah earlier mentioned, you get engrossed in the culture of the organization, okay? And then when the time comes, the organization is folding up, then that's where the problem starts.
Okay, Stellah, let's narrow down it about one specific uncertainty at work, and that is loss of a job. What comes into your mind first when I mention the word job loss?
Fear. What am I going to do next? I'm speaking about myself. If I lost a job today, I would ask myself, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to run my life? How am I going to manage the people that are dependent on me? So the fear comes in. How am I going to manage the next day?
But we all fear losing a job. I've lost a job before, and in an uncertain way, I wasn't prepared. And okay, so if we delve deeper into job loss as an uncertainty at work, what would be your thoughts about managing this uncertainty that's called a job loss, that's devastating, has critical impact on families, society, mental health, and so many other things? You have a job, I have a job, then one day, like Paul mentioned, the mat is pulled off your feet without your knowledge. What are the aspects you'd want to share about this?
I would like to speak into it in two angles, from two angles. One, as an employee, I can lose a job, or any person can lose a job, but also in the other angle of a leader. Oftentimes, actually, as the employment law says, it's the employer to give me the job, to give me work to do. If I came to work and they told me that, Stellah, your contract ends next month. I'm an employee who has been looking up to this organization to give me work to do. One thing, if I was that employee, what comes to mind and the real life experience is you panic.
Yeah.
You go into panic mode. If you have a loan, you're financing a loan. How am I going to pay for this loan? My house is going to be taken away. How am I going to pay my children's school fees? How am I going to live a life that I've been used to?
Yeah.
So one thing is fear, and it will hit everybody. But I think what I would advise...
So basically everyone fears losing their job.
Definitely.
Okay.
Everybody would fear to lose their job.
Paul mentioned there are people at work because they want to, and others have to. And I think the people who have to, most likely like Chris, because I have bills to pay. So I have to work. I have to be at work because I need to earn and pay bills. And from what I understood from Paul, want to is because they are working on a specific career progression. They have a certain objective at the end of 3 years, 5 years in a certain role. So, and I think you're coming from this angle that, especially when you have to and you have to pay the bill, which is ideally majority of us fall in that category. Yeah, continue.
Okay, whether you have to or you want to, those are different things. Whether you want to, actually, most of us want to, but at the end of the day, what is the end result? Even if I want to, I have to pay the bills. Even the person who comes because they have to, has to pay bills. It's the same trade. But now they have to may lose the job first because there is no extra mile put in that particular job. Yeah?
What do you mean when you say that?
For instance,
what do you mean when you say they have to usually may lose a job first? Yeah.
For instance, I have to. When it clocks 5, I'll pack my bags and leave. Yeah? Somebody calls your desk at 5:02. Nobody's going to answer. I did my 8 hours and I'm done. The one who is aspiring to do more, even at 10 minutes past 5, they'll be there. Perhaps they are completing a report or they're responding to ABCD. So there is an extra additional thing they are giving this organization. So when they're weighing, even if you're a line manager, you weigh and see, okay, this person, even when I want something extra from them, they'll give it to me. So if you're told to choose between A and B, you'll definitely choose the one who lives at 5 minutes to 5.
Sure.
And by the time they leave at either 5 on the dot, they left at 3:30 mentally. They left at 3:30. So chances are that this person will leave early. So I would say that the people who want to will have something extra to offer. They are the people that take on extra roles. There are people who are very supportive in anything extra beyond their normal job. So when you're looking at people to retain, you will definitely make sure that these are
the ones that you retain. Okay, so it's my job to keep my job.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
It's my job to upgrade my job.
Yes.
Exactly.
And then it's also my job to make sure that I have a plan B in case I can't execute 1 and 2.
Exactly.
Okay, Stellah.
Yes.
I need to get a plan B. Where do I start?
A plan, I think...
I am working in this organization.
Yes.
I am working hard to keep my job, which is the reason why Paul employed me, gave me a job description, and is paying me money for it. But I'm also looking at
Plan B.
Paul's office and I'm saying, oh, okay, maybe in the future I could be the Paul. So I'm looking towards upgrading. But also I'm thinking, okay, based on the financial report that was shared in the meeting, it looks like this company is not performing well financially. Where do I start in Plan B?
Plan B. I think we should always start with the people that know us. And we need to sell our skills to the people that are in our circles. You know, sometimes we know so much and we can do so much, but it's known by a few.
Okay, say that again.
We know so much and can do so much, but it's known by a few.
But it's known by a few. Listen to that. Sometimes we know so much, we can do so much, but it's only known by a few.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when it's known by a few, it means that it's known by me, my team members, and my line manager.
Okay.
So when I want to start a plan B, it may not work out because I can't influence only these 3, 4, 5 people. But if I sell my skill and my passion to people beyond me, that means I'm starting to create my plan B. For instance, I'm an etiquette coach. Yeah, I've gotten gigs to speak elsewhere from my network in Fun House. So that is my plan B. If I exited my current employment, I have my plan B. But all my referrals are coming from my network. I didn't limit my what I know to the people around me.
So when you're saying about you being an etiquette coach is your plan B,
yes,
that has nothing to do with your work.
No.
Okay, so this is you as Stellah by the side, and your plan B is an etiquette coach, and you are getting these networks for these gigs. Should I call them gigs?
Gigs, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So through your network,
yes,
like HR Fun House.
Yes.
So, Paul.
Yep.
I have had this discussion with you. I'm not sure whether you can remember this, but you are very particular when it comes to organizations and companies that even allow their employees and teams to even have a plan B. Paul, I'm a DJ at night and I'm a cashier at the bank. Is it something that you would want to even think about? Would you even would you enhance it or stop it? Would you help it? Would you help me with a plan B? And of course, we are not talking about that getting a side gig is the only plan B. We are going to look at many other things, but I'm just speaking from what Stellah said, because she said she's an etiquette coach, which is something she does outside her office. But Paul, what is your thought about this?
I mean, Christian, if you ask me that, let me go personal. And you may know this if you've forgotten.
Yeah.
I love coffee. I want to become a barista.
That I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're a cashier at a bank and you DJ at night, for as long as the two don't interfere each other, there is nothing wrong with that. In fact, as an organization, when we have parties, why not contract the in-house DJ?
Yeah, sure. Sure.
So the challenge with all our plan Bs is when they start competing for the same time.
Wait, the challenge with our plan Bs is when plan B starts to compete for time with plan A.
With the main job.
With the main job.
Let's go with the main job, because all those will be our side hustles, right?
Yeah, sure.
So if I'm required in my organization to be in for a meeting, but because I'm a consultant and a management trainer, EBC calls me in on the same day to actually give a talk. So then I have to tell my CEO I can't be in. Okay? But then the next thing they'll hear, oh, by the way, Paul was at the Protea presenting this. So I'm jeopardizing the main job. Okay? Because now the two are conflicting.
Okay, so I agree 100%. Just a quick one. How do we navigate that? And when I'm asking how do we navigate that, is it a conversation we have openly with our employers, or is it something we do undercover? And at what point do you start? Sometimes you may start a plan B. It's well structured. Like you say, okay, you know what? I'm a cashier in this bank, but evening I work with Moving Ads Uganda as say a gig photographer. They can call me in and out, or a driver. So when Moving Ads Uganda is going out to do coverage of their events, I could help with driving here. Maybe I could help with cooking, whatever it is. So are these conversations we have with you as my boss, or you just discover? I'm suspecting these days you are doing catering over the weekend. So how do we go about it?
So the employment relationship is based on honesty and trust. Okay, and that's the first thing. So if I join your organization, and it's going to go back to have to, want to. Okay, if I join the organization, you ask me what other things do I do? I play rugby. Maybe that's what I'll say. That part of my hobbies is playing rugby. Maybe I play for one of the sporting teams in the country. So if the job requires me to be there on a Saturday, if it requires me to be there after 9 p.m., up to 9 p.m., I won't have time training for me to play, and I won't be able to play on game day. So what that means purely is then the job is conflicting with my passion.
Okay, the job is competing with your passion.
Yes.
Okay.
So if I take on that job, then I have agreed with myself that rugby takes the second place. Okay, so I will not become disgruntled, I will not become disengaged if at 9 p.m. I'm still in office and my colleagues are training. Okay, if on a Saturday I'm required to be in office and I've missed this game because I accepted it at that point. But if you've developed a passion, and that's at the start, but if you've developed a passion or a trade along the way, it's also very important to speak with your manager. It's the same thing like our employees who go to start a course. Most of them try to hide it from their managers, and I don't know why.
Okay. From there, what we are discussing here is how to navigate the uncertainties at the workplace while thriving. So, for example, we've mentioned different uncertainties. You could just go into a job and you find an unsupportive boss. You could be at work and you lose the job. Maybe funding has been cut and etc. So what we're looking for here with my friends Paul and Stellah is how then do we thrive in our jobs? Because I mean the basket of uncertainty is expanding day by day. And what we are learning, and I'm sure you've been following, is one, it's your job to keep your job. It is your job to upgrade your job. And then number 3 is your job to get a plan B just in case your job is no longer there. Paul is bringing a very interesting aspect to it. And Paul, I'm asking this with a very biased mind.
Yep.
Do we, as HR practitioners, especially bosses, and when I say boss, I mean HRDs and managers, genuinely go out there and even just support people to progress in their learning, to go for extra courses, to start a business, to pursue a passion? We mentioned about rugby, Paul. I'm supposed to open a till in a bank at 9 a.m. Now I have a swollen leg from a rugby practice that happened yesterday at night. When I'm walking, Paul, in your office and I have this plaster bandage in my leg, what are you thinking?
Well, first of all, I'm thinking, are you okay? That's the first thing. So if you're not safe to be at work, then you shouldn't be at work. But also, after you've recovered, I need to see, how much time you put in the job, because remember, you're working within a team. So if it's Christian always getting days off because he's injured and the like, it could create discontent within the team. And I need to manage that. Okay? But as every organization has, we have leave policies and all that. So, that will apply. And, that's why those policies are there. But I want to go back to how do we support people and their side hustles. In one of the organizations I worked for, we had what we call a talent show, right?
Wow.
In December. And purely it was because we wanted you to come and exhibit your talent that we don't know. Okay? We see Stellah walking, she's doing her job, but Stellah plays for a band. So on that they were able to say, oh, Stellah, which band do you play for? Okay? Then there is something I have told with to introduce. It's like a market day. Okay? Maybe Friday afternoons or Saturday, depending on what kind of organization you are. Market day, come and show us everything that you do. Because people are talented, okay? You have people who are crocheting scarves and all that stuff. So come and we support each other. Showcase what you do. That way you're helping, and just like Stellah mentioned, you're helping other people know what you're capable of doing outside the 8 to 5 job you're doing. Okay? So that way you can build your skills. And those are creative ways HR managers, HR directors can help. Okay? But it can only be acceptable based on the appetite of the organization. Okay? And also based on the intent of the leaders. Because we also need to remember one thing: we are all human. Some of us have good intent, good intentions. Others don't. So if I'm Stellah's manager and if she has a talent for designing dresses, I may fear that she's going to earn more from her dresses and be better than me. But I shouldn't shut her down. And that's the thing. You raised a question about if you were a cashier and a DJ. I think there is a CEO, and if it can be checked, there's a CEO who's a CEO and he's a DJ. And I think he does both concurrently. But I think the issue there was governance. He was taking the company jet. to go to his DJ gigs. So that's where now the line is drawn. If we start, finding loopholes to abuse the system, then we are being dishonest to the organization.
Yes. And this is totally out of my mind. Are there additional or inclusions into company policies that govern how leaders or managers can help their teams thrive in their past 5 a.m. jobs? And Paul, it's good to mention that while some organizations and actually some leaders may be stifling the growth of their employees as individuals outside work, it definitely comes to bite them. And also to check, we are competing in a global market. So you find in other countries, people are doing 3, 4, 5 jobs, and you find, so someone is doing 3 jobs in another country. We are the same age, we studied the same thing, but they are progressing, say, could be more than I am because they are earning more. In our setting right now, I don't even think we have thought about people doing 1 or 2 jobs. Okay, fine. But is there anything within the policy framework that helps leaders to know the boundaries at which to support their teams outside work? Like, for example, you mentioned 2 good things. One is a talent show where employees come in and they show their different talent. An accountant could probably be a DJ, and you support them, you give them confidence to go for it. The other one you mentioned is a market day. Which is good. But is there a document or a framework that helps leaders navigate this kind of setup? Because it can be totally a mess. And let me just add this. Okay, now there's a booming business, especially in Kampala, where an employee of company so and so is now delivering juice to the organization. So lunchtime they have to move from 12 to 2:30 because they have to serve juice, they have to collect the money, then they have to go back to the office and do their work. So etc. So is there a framework?
So Christian, you raise a very, very valid concern. I've had the opportunity and I've been fortunate to work for the healthcare business. And if you're going to hire doctors and nurses, they will sell their skills anywhere. Okay, and we've seen this, and let's come back home to Uganda itself. We've seen this where we have our doctors in the public sector, okay, and we've seen cries out in the press whereby the president is even sacking them himself because you have a full-time job, but you're not at the place of work. In my organization, if you want to have more than 1 job, then you ask for a part-time equivalent contract. So there is that policy.
Yeah.
So which means you don't draw benefits like the person who's giving us his full-time work.
Yeah.
Secondly, the other thing that we tend to forget is we cannot compete with our main job.
Yeah.
So the anti-competition laws are very clear.
Yeah.
So I cannot be working for an automotive company and have a garage I work to. Because it means I'm going to draw clients from that to my garage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I cannot be working for a hospital and I run my own clinic. It means I'm going to draw patients from that hospital to my own clinic. So whatever your side hustle is, we also need to work within the framework of the law. And the laws of the land. Are you competing with your employer? 1. 2, are you stealing time from your employer? And then you can write policies for everything, but you'll never cover everything. I think the true line there, where I draw the line, is if your employer found out that you are doing this, is it in competition with that or not? And if it's not in competition, then there would be no reason why you're afraid to tell your employer that I actually play for this band every Friday night. And so I request that I can come in early on Friday morning and leave a bit earlier because I want to go and set up. But most times I come in late and I still want to leave early. Or I leave before turning in the assignments and giving, because we need not look at work as hourly based, unless if you work in a factory. We need to look at our work as output based. That if I put in all my outputs, there is no reason why I can't go on my gig. We also need to notice time zone difference. So America is awake when Uganda is sleeping. So I could be working for an organization remotely in Kampala, that pays me. But if it's competing with my mother organization, then that's where the problem is. If it's not competing, then I see nothing wrong. And if my performance is not dropping, then I'm mindful. Obviously, like Stellah mentioned, we all work so that we can pay bills, go on holidays, whatever it is.
Live a better life.
Live a better life, whatever it is that we do. The true measure is don't bite more than you can chew.
Don't bite. You mentioned, I'd want to pick it out from there and ask Stellah a very pertinent question. But before that, if you, we're talking about plan B, mitigating issues like a job loss. You now don't know where to go and what to do. So for some of us who have side gigs, actually it could be one of the way of circumventing this kind of uncertainties at work. What we are picking in from Paul in this conversation is don't bite more than you can chew. Have these conversations with your leaders about this is what I am doing. Number one, it's more like a non-compete kind of a setting where you are not competing with your organization. So I think from what Paul is saying, we're picking that you can agree with your organization on an open, honest framework that supports your work and also supports what you are doing. Like, say, we are not just talking about a plan B being a work or a gig. We're even talking about school, extra learning, and what have you. But you see, like, a very good example is like, Paul, at EBC, we have a framework that allows the consultants working with us, especially the full-time consultants, to engage in whatever they want as long as it's non-compete. And we have one of our consultants who is a very talented and one of the top skincare influencers in Uganda through TikTok. But I said that to capture this point. Why? Because you also can't document everything on the framework. Yeah, she could be working at office and then of course, she's using office Wi-Fi. Okay, she may not be sitting there to record and post, but she'll use office Wi-Fi to read messages that are coming in. I mean, we are all human. I cannot see a bling from a customer and say, I'm going to read that message after 5 p.m. So we can't capture everything.